Hello. Welcome, welcome. If you're new here, we are doing collective energy readings. Reading. This is going to be on the collective energy that we're all experiencing right now. So, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stick around and see what resonates because something may align for you. And let me know in the comments if it does. Okay. We're going to go ahead and hello, Miss Holly. There you are. I'm feeling very, very well today compared to how I was feeling. My neck and everything, I can move it. I don't have a bunch of pain. I get a little bit from time to time, but it's still working itself out. Great improvement though. Thank you. How are you feeling? How's that leg? Hey Matt, hey Ben. How are you guys? Thank you, thank you. All right, we're gonna jump in. Let me hit my stimming device. Hello, Miss Anna. Nice to see you, my beauty. Okay, so bottom of the deck. Thrive Brighty with tolerance. Everyone is learning how to be a little bit more tolerant at this time. I had to look and make sure my mic's on. Everybody is learning how to be more tolerant, even if they are so intolerant of other people because of their skin color or culture or financial status, etc. Everyone's getting a lesson in tolerance, okay? But this is thriving, even though right now not many people would say that anyone's really necessarily thriving due to everything surfacing in the collective across this earth plane. Revolution is underway, okay? Magician in the reverse on the bottom of the deck here. This is manipulative energy. This could also be like your manifestations are not aligning. Things are just not working out for a lot of people right now. It's the energy, you guys. We are also being forced to refine how it is that we manifest. Those of us who have done it intentionally for quite some time now are being checked on our skills. We are kind of being forced to level up our manifestation game. And sometimes that can look a little bit like, I don't know my footing here. I don't know what's going on. Everything that I've done before is not working the way that it normally does. And you're not alone. There are many, 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 many of those in the same boat. Okay. It's just because we are leveling up. There's an energetic shift happening here in the earth plane right now. And as a result, we are no longer using the same types of energies to manifest with. So, some of us are going to be a little wobbly on our feet, most of us, if not all. Okay. Let's be real here. But this is, that practice ground, that training ground for what's to come. Because I've been telling you guys for the past couple of years, instantaneous manifestation is becoming a thing more and more. And you've shown it, proven it to yourself time and time again. But with the old systems and the old energetic structures that have been in place for so long, as those are collapsing, they're also going to misfire, right? Because it's a program. It's an energy's electrical energy, right? So there's going to be shortages? No. Short circuits. There's going to be short circuits. More instant with manifesting, yeah, and we're having to like relearn the rules. Hello Susan, I still I'm not seeing your comments in restream, but I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting, my darling. So yeah, we are moving into more of the instantaneous manifestation, but yeah, learning or remembering that again is exactly what it is. We're not being punished, we're not being like held down under someone's thumb with regard to manifestation, it's just because the energetics right now are nuts, right? Shit's short circuiting as it's dying, it's screaming, it's making it things more difficult on as many people as it possibly can, with like the economies across the board, and also with energetic manipulation, fear tactics, fear mongering, the collective. If we can get enough people focused on this being the problem and this being what's actually happening, then they'll manifest it into being. So that's kind of what's at play here. There's a lot of things that are going on that are preventing people from being able to really move forward in the way that they want to. Full card in the reverse, with the Queen of Swords reverse right behind that. This has got people, overthinkers, especially the neurodivergents, um, off their game, right? Because tried and true isn't really working as well at this time, and there's a lot popping off. There's mind games and psychic warfare that's going on, where the governments are weaponizing that against their peoples. But this is temporary. As we've been talking about, the masks are falling, things are surfacing, things are coming to light. So in these troubled times, um, hold the vision, hold that trajectory, just like we've talked about for so long now. You guys continue to hold the frequency of that and continue to get back up into that frequency every chance that you get. And something, daily will, generally speaking, will impact us in such a way where it can take us out of that higher frequency. Like we've talked about before, we're constantly in and out, up and down, you know, throughout the entire day with regard to our frequency. So you're not going to not be impacted by seeing something unfavorable or experiencing something unfavorable. But, you experience it, you express that emotion, whatever it is, you shake it off, let it go, integrate whatever, and then you get back up into your frequency. You own your frequency, again, your high frequency. This has been a very intense healing period for us. This entire year has, okay? Thank you, Matt. We have the Three of Swords showing up in the reverse because, because it's been intense healing. What happens after you heal? You feel better. You start to attract better, right? Anyone who's experienced physical illness or physical, misalignments or handicaps or injuries or anything. If I know every situation is different, and I'm not like trying to not include anyone here, but generally, if and when you heal or come into alignment after having said experience, you're feeling better, life is going better, you're attracting better things, you're not stubbing your toe or hitting your elbow or whatever, and constantly, and then having someone give you shit looks in public or say something negative to you, or people constantly screwing up in traffic and stuff, which has happened a lot to me recently. That's why I keep referencing that. And I live in a tiny town, you guys. 30 miles an hour through this whole bitch, okay? Unless you're in the residential area, which is 25. People, like yesterday on the way home from school, were going 10 to 15 miles an hour. This car that was piling up a lot of us behind it and irritating a lot of us, 10 to 15 in a 30. Okay. So the programming, the NPCs and the programs and all of that, it's crashing, and you can see it like in real time with people's behaviors, even if they're not like NPC types of people, just the more people that have been more susceptible to programming, like, our boomer generations. You're seeing them like short circuiting and popping off with nonsense and just like full on believing everything and just craziness, right? So you're seeing this repeating, and it's not necessarily the human souls themselves that are, somewhere in that vessel. It's the programming. Okay. So good and bad, positive and negative, favorable and unfavorable things you're seeing short circuits. Okay. This is only the symptoms of the system collapse that we're currently seeing in our uh, world goings on right now. It's all happening because once we break the system, we can start to rebuild. Okay, things can really come together. Two of Cups right behind that. Delusions, yes, absolutely, Matt. Delusional minds, delusions are coming up to the forefront. They have to surface. Like, you don't know you're delusional unless it's put in front of you in such a way that your mind can wrap around it and comprehend that, hey, I may be a little delusional here, so maybe I need to, recheck my beliefs and structures and all of that. So, you know, um, gifted and calming temperament from the plasmic realms. So celebrate. Celebrate it. This is rebirth. Yes, Matt, absolutely rebirth. Celebrate the rebirth. Ask any birth giver. Regardless of how you birthed your children, I myself never ever went through the actual natural birthing process. They had to cut me from hip to hip every single time because my body built small is like, nope, we're not opening that big for this giant baby. All my babies were big. My twins were big for being twins. Okay, at 38 weeks to the day, they were taken via C-section because of the two previous C-sections, and they were huge for twins. 6'12", or sorry, 5'12" and 6'2". Um, 5 pounds, 12 ounces, 6 pounds, 2 ounces. That's huge for twins. And with my small frame, you guys, I'm 5'3¾", not quite 5'4", but I claim it anyway. So a soul midwife, um, that could be a couple of things actually. That could be like people like me, helping through the process, the awakening process. That could be um, even things as like people like being a midwife in delivering a soul here, or helping a soul transition. Like, there are so many different ways you can be a soul midwife, but I don't know if you're referencing something that you've like read or seen or something like that, where the context might be a little different, but it's shamanic work. Any way you slice the cake, it's shamanic work. So a midwife is kind of the guide, right? Guiding the soul or the vessel of the unborn child into this realm, right? um Pretty much the same thing. It's transitionary work, and soul midwifery would be helping a soul in with transitions, which would be like an awakening process or a transitioning phase. So yeah, great question, Anna. Thank you. So celebrate right now. Yes, pay attention to what's going on. And the more that the masks are falling and everything is crumbling, narratives, false narratives, and even with individuals that you may be connected to in your day-to-day, think like the empath narcissist type paradigm. There's a lot more lies. They're trying to like spit so many lies to get you to believe anything other than the truth, because the facade is crumbling, because everything is, the masks are falling. From your palm reading. Oh, cool. I've done that too. I uploaded mine to ChatGPT, which I haven't been using as much lately, and there's like, yeah, not really that trustworthy, but it's a tool, so I'm gonna use it when I feel it's helpful for me. um So yeah, that's really, really awesome, Anna. So yeah, that would perfectly fit for you. You're welcome. Um, Pay attention, especially on the world stage right now. Okay, they're throwing out so many lies. It's like, believe one of these, don't believe the truth. You know, we're going to deny it anyway, so you never know what's going to be. Pay attention, use your intuition and your discernment. Okay, that's a big one right now. Everyone is experiencing it to some degree. Blending your intuition and your discernment, we're balancing the masculine and feminine. We've been doing it for quite a long time now at this point, with regard to the shift. So in your individual experience, that's going to look like balancing. Do I, you know sit here open to receive, or do I need to act on something? Do I initiate, with this job, this person, this business idea, this, whatever it is? Do I need to take some kind of initiative right now, or do I sit back and observe and wait and, watch for the opportunity? Um, Pay attention. Just pay attention right now, um, because the balance of the masculine and feminine is happening across the board in our individual lives and on the collective sphere, and you're going to be needing discernment and intuition in your own relationships and or experiences, with opportunities and work, and the many things that we can be talking about with regard to our individual experience, as well as, world leaders, or things that you're told that are going on in the world. Use your discernment, take everything with a grain of salt right now. um, Love that, you guys, love that. Community, hood love. Reach out to your neighbors, start forming communities. And this, like, if you don't have any like-minded people around you, totally fine. We keep people at different distances from our energetic bubble. All right, so like, building community in your geographic location is a good thing, especially in, times that are kind of shaky, unsure, uncertain, whatever. um you know because they're physically close to you. We need people need people, okay? And community is a positive thing. So setting aside differences for a common goal of the betterment of your local community is going to be very important, as well as, for your mental, emotional, spiritual sides. Reach out, build community on, like, we have this beautiful little community here. um, Reach out for support, try to build support within your communities, all communities that you are a part of, your local geographical location community, your spiritual communities, maybe people that, you have intellectual conversations with, or whatever it is that's going on in your life. um that's awesome. um so community bonds coming together, because you know the 1% have the money to do whatever that is that they want, to try to distract and try to manipulate and try to, pit people against one another because of their economic status or their culture, skin color, all of these things. So, um, use your discernment and form communities for the highest good of all involved, not just for yourself, but always, yes, your own highest good comes first and foremost, just as long as you are not harming anyone or anything else around you. Otherwise, it gets into the narcissistic type. Hello, Anna. I mean, sorry, I read Anna's comment. Hello, Kara. I don't, oh, there it is. I see it. I just kind of, my eyes didn't see it. Hello, honey. How are you? How's your vacation? Um, so, okay, community, reaching out, creating these communities, coming, like, everyone is getting on board with what's for the highest good of the 99% at this time, in different ways, okay? Even if it looks like they're totally against that, and they just haven't had their time of awakening. So, things, like I said, things are going to get a bit worse because some people are harder to awaken. Sometimes the programming runs real deep with some of these people, and it's going to take them having some shitty experiences to awaken to, oh, it's not just about me. All of these other people that are having these experiences that they've been shouting about for eons now, for some of them, um, I'm experiencing that now, and I don't really like it, and this is not okay, right? So, some awesome stories, yay! Can't wait to hear. Um, so now is the time to start forming these connections, authentic connections, you guys. And it could be as simple as, you know what? I don't like my neighbor, but I'm gonna get on some common ground and be like, you know what? If you see some shit, say some shit. Let's get this little, community notification type thing going on like I did a couple months back with my neighbors. Those of you who have followed me for a while have, supported me for a while. You guys know of the issue that I had with my neighbor last year, and it completely soured our connection because before that I totally loved him. I was like, "Oh, hey neighbor. Cool. Hey, what's up?" And then, the incident with my cat and the neighbor not being so nice, really soured that, completely spoiled it. Then they started getting, the looks after that, and not a word, not a hey, not a acknowledging, nothing. Okay. But then whenever shit started popping off with the Frozen crew, then I was like, yo, we might not like each other because of shit that your husband did, but that's okay. Like, we need to be community. We need to communicate. If I see something, I'm going to say something. I'm going to stop you. Like, if you see something, you say something, I'll be right there. You know, like, we might have had experiences in the past that have soured us against one another, but you know what? We're still neighbors and we still need to protect one another's civil rights, right? So anything else doesn't, like, it does matter, but it's not as important in this, like, don't do it again and we'll be cool. And they haven't. There's not been an issue. And yeah, Chunky Dunk. Um, my cats have been safe being outside, and like Duncan, because he's just an asshole, actually parked it in my neighbor's walkway after he got home from work one day. And I always make sure, or try to make sure, that he's in the house by the time the neighbor gets home. And if he's not, I'll send the kids out to get him, to like call him, because he comes right up to them or he wants to play with them when they go outside. So I'll send him out there to get him and bring him in the house so we don't have to worry. But my neighbor had just come home. Duncan was in their walkway and the kids were outside playing, and he asked them nicely to come in his yard to get the cat and get it out of his yard. So he learned his lesson. But just something like that. Like me, I went over there and the empath in me cried all up in her face whenever I was saying like it was atrocious what's happening to the brown people in our country right now. And like, I grew up in South Central Cali, and the Hispanic culture there is very rich. Okay, and it's not just Mexicans, not just Mexico. Okay, and that's kind of like what you see broadly now is like the brown people are associated with the Mexican flag, which a lot is, it's true, but there's also, there's so many other Hispanic countries besides Mexico. They're just the closest to us, so that they get the brunt of everything. But like El Salvadorian, Guatemalan, like all of these people, all of these cultures, different foods, different flavors, different color, like amazing. Um, so just a little bit of it's something that kind of sticks out to me. I'm like, they're not all Mexican. And I know that my brown brothers and sisters are the same. They're like, not all of us that are Hispanic are Mexican. So just a little clarity there. But I'm rambling. I'm getting on into it. So let's try to get this going. Initiation. Okay. We might feel like we're bound, like our hands are tied, like we can't do anything, but we can, and we are. Like, boycotting against these major corporations, and, even holidays. People are saying they're going to take, like, not going to do Christmas because they're not going to put money into the pockets of these larger corporations that also fund G-side, the unaliving of many groups of people within the same ethnic group, as is happening many places all over this earth plane at this time. We're, speaking up with our money because we, the people, have the power. They know that. That's why they filter and siphon it and make things increasingly difficult for any of us to even think about it, because we're too focused on how are we going to pay our bills and stuff. So, forming communities, coming together, even though you feel like you're bound in some way, you are not. Now is the time to think outside of the box. Now is the time to speak up, to vocalize, okay? To assemble, peacefully assemble. If you're doing like No King stuff, or like, any like the what's happening in Portland and Chicago right now with the marches and the peaceful music festivals at this time. Um, People are demonstrating what we can do and the power of the people when we come together with a common goal. So, um, we may feel, even in our individual experiences, like our hands are bound. Um, sorry, I'm getting distracted with the comments. Like our hands are bound, like we can't do anything, like we can't move forward. Yes, you can. You're just learning how to manifest from a different platform than what you're used to, because the energetics here, I don't know if you've noticed lately, have shifted. Okay. We've got cosmic energies all crazy. We've got, Three Eye Atlas is one of the things that a lot of people know about right now. That's along with just its presence here in our solar system, is bringing otherworldly energies with it. Okay, you got to think energetically. It's bringing these higher frequency energies because they're higher frequency beings from, higher frequency planes of existence. Not only that, there's waves of energetic particles and, tons of ships. Like, if you guys, like, tons of like ships coming in on a chart. That's why like NASA and all of these spaceship, even China and like all of these space agencies are like, everything's going offline. We're not going to let you see what's through our telescope, and if you do, we're going to say it's a comet. So, yeah, third eye map, right? Because an atlas is a map. Third eye map, baby. So it's opening people's eyes. People are like, what the fuck? Well, what is this? What is going on here? Because this isn't normal. This hasn't happened in the history of since we've been, monitoring this or had this telescope or, yeah. And the solar energies, the geomagnetic storms and things which are about to ramp up, like all of these things, of course you guys are going to feel, all of us, not just you guys, me too, all of us are going to feel impacted. All of us are going to have, trouble finding our footing because we're so used to this earth realm being a certain way with that energy, even though it's hard to get used to that energy, period. I'll be the first to admit it's hard. If you're not even fucking from here, you're like, what in the absolute? Like, what is going on? But energy is changing, and right now it's chaotic because we're being bombarded from like all sides by this high intense, high frequency energy. And yes, it's good, and yes, it's amazing, but it's causing a lot of shit to surface, a lot of ugly shit. All the monsters are creeping out from under the bed. Okay, they're coming out of the woodworks. So spiritual hygiene is going to be much more necessary, and that's why we have been learning over the past few years, right, guys? How to keep up on our spiritual hygiene, how to properly cleanse, protect, cloak, shield, whatever, ourselves, and keep our energy pure. Like, yeah, I'm experiencing some shit right now. I'm going to express it. I'm going to get mad. I'm going to be authentic about it. I'm going to tell that person to go fuck off, just like I told the nurse the other day, like, your Bible quote at the end of your school district email account is against the law because you do not represent the entire school district's beliefs. But when you tag that onto the bottom, it sure does look like it. And that's why it is written in law to separate church and state. Okay. I will be petty when I need to be to get some attention. Like, you're doing it wrong. That's just the autistic perspective, and not, I did mean to be kind of rude there because I was pissed off in the moment. I'm not gonna lie. I will be authentic. I will tell you the truth. But it's also cut and dry. Like, you're breaking the rules, okay? And people with autism identify with that. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what it says, like in the little rules that you're supposedly supposed to follow, and you're not doing it. So be authentic, express that shit, and then get up out of that. Like, after that whole conversation where it did get heated, and also she responded back energetically. She was getting heated too. And then we were like, okay, common ground. I was like, we're not, I could go on about this for a while, but that's not the focus here. My child's well-being is the focus. So let's find some common ground here. And then we started to, find some more common ground. I ended up crying. She hugged me. I hugged her back. Like, there was resolution there, even though we were both kind of heated and both kind of tense. Things like that are going to happen, especially with that Aries full moon that we just had the other night. So energy is high. Okay. So be authentic in your expression, just don't be harmful. Okay, there's a difference. Not saying something, not speaking up because it's not nice to do or it doesn't seem kind from what we've been trained that kindness is, has absolutely no bearing on authenticity, which is the highest frequency. And it has absolutely no impact on whether or not you can come to a peaceful resolution and, bond together for a common goal. So, just using myself as real world, real time experience and example, it's building strength in character. Okay. Sometimes we got to feel like we can't do it the same way we've been doing it for others. And yes, Anna, we have to be the mirror for others. And some of us are mirrors for others always, but others of us are mirrors for people sometimes. Um, what in the fucked up frequency is this, right, Matt? So thank you, Anna. She's been sending so much healing and love to those captured by the frozen crew. Um, yeah, girl, we all are, and there are people fighting back in ways that they can. Like people in Portland and Chicago are not being hospitable to them right now. They can't find anywhere to eat some lunch. They can't go buy lunch because people will not serve them. They will not let them use their public restrooms. Like it's funny. I mean, don't be a fascist and we'll welcome you into our community. But if you're going to be coming into our community, snatching up people that we love and care about, even if we don't even know them, never met them before in our lives, they're still our community members and they're still important. They still have civil rights. Like if you're going to come and be a danger to our community, well, we're going to push you out. Okay. There are fire crews with fire trucks pushing the frozen crew out of neighborhoods. Like their people are getting outside the box, where they would have thought, oh my gosh, like, the more analog functioners like the boomer generations, not making a blanket statement because there are exceptions, but I mean, mostly, okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know the whole mentality. Whereas like if this happened in their day, they would have felt like, oh my gosh, our hands are bound. We can't do anything. We must fall in line. We must, this is what the president said. So we have to. People are saying no. People are, thinking outside of the box. People are getting resourceful. The freaking Portland Frog, okay, twerking it right in front of the whatever, the National Guard and the agents that they have assigned to protect the federal building or whatnot. Um, you know, peaceful protesting. They're making a joke out of it. They're making it very blatant and apparent that what is happening is utterly ridiculous and shouldn't be happening, like okay, what war in Portland? I have been all over Oregon. I know Oregonians from the coast all the way inland, and they're different depending on which area you're in, but Oregonians as a whole, just the vibe for that state, ridiculously hospitable, loving, open. Like even the tweakers are cool. You know what I mean? Like tweakers, I don't know, like people that are not in the US that don't know what a tweaker is. It's a person who is addicted to methamphetamines or something similar. Okay. That really can mess with your head and make people really awful. But like even those people, for the most part, that again, not a blanket statement, but they're just cool. They're just like really amazing people. So, and I know Susan can vouch for that, and she's up in Portland, but I can't see her comments. So, I love you, Susan. Um, so yeah, like they're just making a mockery of it. Like this is ridiculous. They're saying that they need to deploy more military to Portland because it's like there's a city full of war and everything's on fire everywhere. But then you have this frog twerking it, in front of them, and then you've got people in chicken costumes and like all of this because they're making it very blatantly obvious that this is peaceful. Okay, we're not attacking, we're not rioting in the streets, we're not setting shit ablaze, we're not doing anything wrong, we're not attacking, it's not, people aren't in danger. And because that's the narrative they're trying to push on the mainstream media, right? So um we're thinking outside of the box, and we have to do that with our individual experiences too, where we feel we may be bound. Now it's time to dream out loud. Now it's time to open up into our divine feminine energy even more by saying, what else can I do? How else can I achieve this? Like this way is not working anymore. This efforting is not working anymore. So let me open up to other ideas. What else can I bring to the table here to advance my trajectory or advance my location towards my trajectory? Okay. She said, speak it. I love you, Susan. um, I don't know. I don't know if you can make another YouTube account or something. Anna switched to her other one because the one that her one that she uses regularly wasn't working, but she went to her old one and it works just fine and we can see her and interact with her. So I don't know, just a thought. Yes, we're opening up, right? And possibilities and solutions. Like when we feel bound and we feel like we're stuck and we can't do anything, that's whenever we're the most open. We're like, I don't care what it is, just get me the hell out of here. You know what I mean? So this is, even though it's incredibly difficult, torturous, tragic in some cases, okay? It is opening us up to bigger and better things, to being able to build these new systems that favor everyone, not just the 1%. Okay. That where we're no longer going to tolerate these injustices and these inequalities. Okay. We are, no matter where you come from, what your belief system, whatever, we can still find common ground and we can still coexist, which is a big theme in Oregon, my friends. Coexist. It's on everybody's bumper. Coexist. Okay. So I just it's ridiculous how they would try to portray Oregonians from any part of the state as anything but tolerant and open and supportive. It's just insane to me, but it's building strength. Okay, it's building strength, and humans are nothing if not strong and resilient creatures as a species. Okay. So we are building this new earth to where our children and our grandchildren and our future generations don't have to be so strong and resilient. Yes, they will be, because they're going to be a warrior and a garden baby. Okay, because every other species does it that way too. Even the peaceful extraterrestrial species still have their soldiers and whatnot. Okay. So we are building a new world where everyone doesn't have to constantly be strengthened and made to be resilient and made to, pivot because every life circumstance is beaten down to where, they have no other choice. It's not supposed to be like that. And it's not going to, because we decided collectively that's not going to. It's not the 1% that's the deciding factor, babies. It's the 99. The power that were. I love that, Anna. Absolutely. They've already lost. It's already done. We're just seeing it playing out across, the next couple of years more specifically. But, the next several decades, we're going to see this playing out. We're going to see the evolution in real time, real quick. Just like whenever the internet just barely came online in the 80s and 90s, and like hardly anyone, unless they were like well off, had even a computer or internet or anything in their house, till now where everyone has it in the palm of their hand. Okay, that wasn't a very long time span for that kind of evolutionary jump, right? And it's just getting exponential at this point. I have to let Loki in the front door because he is crying and he's old and it's chilly outside, so I don't want his bones achy, so I'll be right back. I love you guys. Okay, let me grab him. I heard you, but I was on my live talking to everybody, okay? I got bitched at just now because I didn't open the door for him fast enough. He's like, bitch, I've been out here crying forever. Oh, thank you, Matt. Thank you, Susan. I love you, love you, love you. So yeah, I mean, these are collective theme readings, so of course we're going to take it collective because there's a lot to say on that right now. We are conjuring our legacy, y'all. Okay. It's within our lifetime, within our generations, because I know there's a few generations built into this community specifically, but also everywhere else too. Um, we're building the future for this entire earth plane. Okay, we're bridging that huge gap, um, because we have had so many trials and tribulations, because we've been beaten down again and again and again, constantly, consistently, for eons now. I'm talking thousands of years. And you guys know, particularly those of a melanated skin type and females, okay? And then let's not even get started on like transgender and gender fluid and the LGBTQI, yeah, the LGBTQIA plus communities. Um, oppression is over, okay? It ended, is done, okay? Already done. Those who still carry that in their bloodlines are still adhering to a lot of those beliefs at this time. But honey, that can no longer exist, especially the more we move up in these frequencies, which are bombarding us left, right, up, down, sideways, and backwards. Okay. They're not going to be able to exist anymore. So if they don't evolve by, seeing what's going on and thinking, oh my goddess, this is atrocious. Why? Like, I can't believe I ever believed in that way. Or, people still have time to shift their ways of thinking. But also, a lot of people are transitioning now off planet, right? Out of body, transitioning. Their vessels can no longer function in a higher frequency. And there's still some that are kind of clinging on, okay? But not for much longer. Um, so the light's already won. It's already done. We're just still seeing the residual energy, off gassing itself. And it's got gas, apparently, stanky gas. So coming up out of this period of healing, of rest, we can no longer sit on our laurels. You guys have been saying this for months now. We can no longer sit on our laurels because we are sowing that legacy. Okay. We are conjuring because we're magical beings, and a lot of us, a majority of us, are awakening to that truth at this time. People are awakening to their gifts. People that didn't believe in woo-woo magical shit are all of a sudden like, hey, why am I having memories of a past life? Why is there weird shit happening in my house? Lights and shit flying off shelves and like everything, all kinds of crazy shit's happening. Because you can't deny that, Kevin, okay? You can't deny what's going on in front of your face here. Your logic mind can't come up with an excuse. You're awakening to the fact that you've been programmed, okay? So a lot of people are going to be coming online, have been for, in our recent past, are going to continue to come online, okay? So being more understanding instead of judgmental, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you were, a racist or whatever, you blah, blah, blah. It's our, I don't want to say responsibility, because no one else is your responsibility, but some of us are tasked to come here, with the job of helping people to transition, or midwifing them, right, Anna? Um, midwife midwifing them through the awakening process. Nothing happens by accident. So thank you, Anna. You introduced part of the reading there. So maintaining balance amidst all of this chaos, right? Balance in the chaos. Children having telekinesis gifts and more. Yeah. Just like all of those, anti-gay people, fascist whatevers, have gay kids, and usually a lot, like more than one, as it so happens for some of them, to where they can't not open up to that, right? If they want to keep this child who they've loved and nurtured in their own way. Um, for many, many years. They can't just let go of that, right? So needs to get a interview out there. Thank you, Matt. Whatever needs to happen is gonna happen. I'm not tripping on it. But thank you. I love you. So maintaining our balance amidst all of this chaos, being compassionate and understanding while still holding people accountable. We can do that, right? We can hold someone accountable with compassion and understanding, and that's okay. And we can be abrasive about it when we need to be. It doesn't mean you have to like be all love and light and blah, 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 you're a special soul, you're a blah blah blah. Because yeah, they are. Everyone is a special soul. Everyone that comes from source is a key component, okay? But it doesn't make their behavior in the past okay. It doesn't make any of that okay. So they need to be taught that that's not okay. And the way we learn that things are not okay is we are held accountable, or we hold ourselves accountable. And for those people who have not practiced self-awareness forever, or like much in their lives, then they're going to have to be held accountable because they're not going to hold themselves accountable. This is a learning process. They have to go through the shadows just like you did, baby. And that doesn't mean that you need to coddle them all the way through. Okay. So get that one straight right there. Whatever, whatever they caused, whatever kind of strife or imbalance that they've caused with their behaviors, their beliefs, their programming, their whatever, does not mean that you don't hold them accountable. That's like Knight of Swords in the reverse. This is the like, I don't want to be held accountable. You still need to be. You still need to learn from your transgressions, okay? You need to learn from your behaviors, because if you don't learn from those behaviors, you're going to continue the pattern. Even if you say, I'm woke, oh, I'm awakening, I'm a spiritual person. Now, do you know how many are in the spiritual community that are completely deceitful and are only after the money in your pocket because they know you're not going to question them, because they know you're too nice to question them? They know they can gaslight the fuck out of you so that you completely disregard your own discernment and your own intuition, and you're like, but no, they're saying all this stuff that's really cool and I believe in it. Yeah. But what about red flag number 786 that you just passed up back there? Okay, Sharon, stop. Just because they're in the spiritual community does not mean that they get a free pass to your energy. Okay. If because they're in the spiritual community, you should give them a second glance, because infiltrators, think religions, cults, things like that. Okay. The wolves come and gather up the sheep so that they can have a buffet. So just because they call themselves spiritual, or just because they have a huge following and they say all these cool things or say all the right things, does not make them good. So even with the newly awakened, they come in and they're like, oh, I'm spiritual now, blah, blah, blah. They need to be held accountable, period. End of fucking story. Yes, actions have consequences, and that is what we call karma. Thank you, Matt. Absolutely. Karma is not, oh, it's payback, it's your punishment. It is actions and repercussions, okay? It is cause and effect, okay? So holding these people accountable, showing them you fucked up, XYZ is why, and this is how we don't do that, okay? Yes, always do what's in your own highest good, but without causing harm to others. Do no harm, but take no shit for y'all. But remember, your actions have consequences, have reverberations, and it will reverberate back to you eventually. Okay? Even if it's not immediate, eventually. Just because we live in a universe of cause and effect. The whole karma thing, okay, it's not really going to be a thing anymore, but that doesn't eliminate the cause and effect. It's just what humans have attached to the label of karma, if you know what I mean. So everything that has been crumbling, everything that's been falling apart, all of these harsh truths coming to light with that Knight of Swords, the people's actions, okay, they're going to start receiving consequences to those actions. So be mindful of the seeds you're sowing moving forward. Make sure that they are authentic. They are of your authentic frequency and intent. Okay. Because with these energies, you do not want to fuck around because you do not want to find out. Okay. So proceed accordingly is what they said. Cloud meditation. Look up, you guys. You're going to start seeing a lot more UAPs or UFOs in the skies. You're going to be seeing a lot more matrix glitches. My kids and I saw 2 matrix glitches just on the way to school today. Can't even remember what they were at this moment because I'm in the channel and I wasn't going there to begin with, but here it is. So you're going to see a lot of glitches because the false matrix paradigm is crumbling. It is crashing. It is shorting out. It is short circuiting. Okay. Faster karma because the frequencies are raising, because we're still going to be in this existence of density because that's what we came here to experience, is density. Like all souls came here to experience density, among all of the other reasons that they decided to come here. However, yes, it's going to speed up because, manifestation speeding up. Yes, it's going to happen. As we raise in frequency, we're also raising in dense. It's not going to be as dense, but it's still going to be a tangible realm, so to speak. So just because it's not as heavy and dense, it doesn't mean that we're not going to live in a tangible realm. Not like we're going to all become light beings and function like those other worlds that are in much higher densities function. That's not going to be the case. It's still going to be a tangible realm with density, but things are, energetic manifestations are going to be speeding up. We're not going to have so much of the heavy, dense, dark energy that we've already learned from that. We're evolving past that, and that's why we're at this spot where we are. So there's also at a frequency point that we're headed towards that is no longer going to be very possible anymore for people to operate out of those lower, more dense frequencies anyway. So we're not going to have to worry about that. But right now, while you still can, be mindful. Equalizer with the higher self. This is not only talking about your own higher self, which everybody has one, right? But everybody's higher self is just another fragment of the whole. We're fragments, we're fractals of source, right? Our higher selves are fractals of source. They're fragments of the whole. So this is a more collective, like, source, all of us being affected here. All of us are equalizing. We're leveling the playing field. That's been a theme, you guys know, for several months now, right? So before I even took the summer of a break from going live. The playing field is being leveled right now, where all are going to prosper. All are going to, be equals. So this is more like our source self, because we all have the same source. That's our self. That's our one true self, all of us as the whole. Okay. And then it's fragmented and fragmented on down to what we have right here that you're looking at. So this is source equalizing, leveling the playing field, and sending in backup, by way of our star family coming in to assist energetically. Some of them will be more in like the physical communication, lots of encounters, lots of trips to the spaceships, what they like to call abductions, but they're not. Their check-ins with their star seeds. Okay. There's going to be a lot more of those happening, and people awakening to the fact that they are starseed because they've been offline until this certain point where they're meant to awaken and be like, oh my gosh, I'm an alien. But I didn't know it. I had no idea this whole time until one day I just woke up and I was switched on. Okay. You'll see those too. We all have different roles to play in different appointed times, not like earth time, but energetic alignment times where we're meant to awaken. Some of us are meant to awaken decades before, like the beautiful late great Dolores Cannon, and others similar to her, and all of the people in the ET communities and the spiritual communities and things like that. And not just decades, because this has been going on for as long as the patriarchy has been in existence, right? But there are appointed times and situations where some are meant to be completely offline and completely in the 3D experience and the beliefs and the programming that they had programmed until they awaken at a later point in the shift in the collective awakening. So connecting with source every day and asking source to work through me and guide me every day when I wake up. I love that, Anna. We reach one and higher self, then become, then leveling up each time. It's a process. Yes, Matt. Yes. Um, so everything that's not meant to prosper and move into this higher density, this higher frequency way of existence is crumbling or dying out completely. And that does, include physical human vessels and whatnot. So, crossroads, we've got the Two of Pentacles showing up in the reverse. This is no longer crossroads energy. This is shit or get off the pot energy, to be frank. Okay. Source ain't playing games no more. The energy is ripe. It is time for that baton to be passed. We have reached a point in our evolution where we're no longer able to exist in the lower densities. And that's why we've got, we've got the backup, we've got the energetic ripening, we've got the sun, the solar activity that's happening right now that's going to continue, and it's going to amplify around October 30th, which is, Matt, you brought that up the other day. Yes, that's when all of that energy is ripe, and that's why we've been getting total whiteouts on the Schumann and all of these energies, all of the geomagnetic storms and everything happening, because we've been preparing for this. The Schumann's been crazy for years now, for a few years, and kind of seemingly to the untrained eye sporadic bursts of different kind of energies and things that people haven't seen on the charts ever, and things like that building up, and now it's like it's constant at this rate. It's pretty much constant. So we've been energetically prepared for this entire unfolding. So we've been moving forward. Six of Swords, this is moving to calmer waters, right? Moving to calmer shores, being guided to calmer shores. In the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you do have the boatsman behind her, and there is a child in there with her, like taking everything that she holds dear, which is not a whole lot, and moving that to calmer waters, because it's just the clothes that they have on their backs, her and her child, which is her most precious possession, the future generations, guardian taking them, across the rough waters, to safety. So we have been undergoing this process. We've been practicing. We've been forging ourselves in the fire, and it's so that we could be strong enough to withstand this huge energetic shift that we're already in, but we're about to undergo kind of the deeper end of that, so to speak. But it's taking us to our Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so everything in your individual experience is going to crumble that doesn't belong. Everything that was built on false foundations, on shaky foundations, anything that is not of your frequency, or maybe before it kind of gets that way. You know how people will make decisions and change their life, and then all of a sudden now you're not really a match to them in frequency terms anymore. So you just kind of part ways, however that happens in your experience with that person. Those things have been happening, especially over this last year. We're in the year of the snake. We're shedding skins. We're shedding the old. We're letting go of shit, even shit we didn't want to let go of. We're having yanked from our cold dead fingers. Okay, it's happening, but it's happening to set the stage for the better that's to come. Witch doctor with wisdom, have the eyes to see. Okay, have the wisdom to understand what's going on around you, and don't be shaken by it. Be excited, celebrate, because the falsehood is melting. The negativity, the facade, the untruths are crumbling, masks are falling, like we've been talking about. Everything is melting away that is not authentic, and only what is authentic can stay. And that means people, situations, jobs, businesses, emotions, shadow work, traumas, all of these things. We're releasing them, we're letting them go. We're having to face these things head on, and we're having to make the decision, hey, you know what? This isn't worth drowning for. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my ass across to the calmer shores over here. Okay? You've already made that decision with that Two of Pentacles in the reverse. Ground right now. It is important. Grounding is of paramount importance, especially right now. That's 3-6, card number 36, 369, because 6 plus 3 is 9. Endings, okay, culminations. The cards have been saying it for years now, and yep, bring it all to the light, baby. Ground, 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 because we're experiencing some duality as a result of these endings. This 369 energy is also creation, the seasons, okay? You're getting a little bit of everything all at once, and that is why it's so intense. That is why it feels unbearable at times, because we're experiencing all ends of the spectrum duality, right? So we're literally confronting the masculine energy, the patriarchy here, but we are also shedding all of the false beliefs about what true masculinity is. The toxic masculine is making a screaming fucking toddler hissy fit right now. Okay, all over the place, everywhere, in every country across the earth plane, it's happening. So the wounded masculine is becoming very apparent right now. Okay, it's going to continue to get worse, right? But we treat it like the toddler that it is. Okay, we put it in its place. Go put it in a timeout. Get your ass out of my energy. Okay, get out of my bubble. Go take a timeout in your little timeout corner. Stick your nose there and don't look back. Ah, one more minute every time you look away from that wall. Okay, so accountability, again, like we talked about earlier. Just know if the spaceship hums, it's man-made. The real ones make no sound. Yes, thank you, Holly, for bringing that to. Yes, always trust your gut. Yeah, so man-made craft is going to have noise because they have reverse engineered zero gravity ships and stuff like that. But yeah, it'll still have a sound. It's not the same. It can't be the same. They don't have exactly the same technology and tools. So absolutely correct. We all had our dark night so we could heal and help the collective transmute. Yep. And it will also probably trigger for a lot of people more dark night of the soul, because you don't just have one. Some people do just have one. A lot of people just have one, but there are many that one can experience through their path, depending on what they need to heal and all of that. So yes, especially if you've had several dark nights of the soul, then you can definitely help anyone who is hitting theirs. So it's all happening. Divine timing is what's happening. All right, this is the divine and perfect time. Card number 30 breaks down to 3, but 3 and 0, 0 is source, God source energy. Okay, this is creation, beginnings of creation stages for this new phase, with that God source right up there with it, saying this is orchestrated divinely by the source, by us as one. Okay, yeah. Well, they can become less intense, but they can also become more intense depending. But yes, I get it, Matt. But depending on, I guess, your path, your purpose, what you have set up for yourself. So you might experience a really intense one, and that's your first awakening in your dark night of the soul. And then you might have a few more after that that aren't as intense, but you might have one that's even more of a double whammy than your first one. So it really depends on the mission and everything that you come in with. But yes. And Dark Night of the Souls, yes, Anna, can go on for years for some people. So yeah, all is well though. It's all happening for us. Even the shitty things, even the, tragic things, even the most dense of heavy and disgusting, yucky, oogly energies. Okay. It's all happening for the ultimate highest good. Some of us volunteered to be, to be the poster child for that energy. Like, there you'll see certain media figures, or figures that are kind of put on a pedestal in the media as an example, like um Albrego Garcia. There was a name before that though. Kilmer Abrego Garcia, I think. If I'm saying that wrong, sorry. But people like that, like, he wasn't the only brown person to be taken, to the death camp in El Salvador, right? Um, there were many, and there's been like many other, but Kilmar Albrego Garcia. Yeah, sorry. But like people like that go through intense things, or the people that don't make it out, but like George Floyd. Okay, George Floyd didn't make it out alive out of the situation, and he was made into like this poster child on the media for the Black Lives Matter movement, and you know things like that are terribly tragic, and no, they shouldn't happen. Absolutely should not. But those souls signed on for that, to be that, so that they could save many, right? um Sorry, not I'm trying not to fucking cry because it just hit me. My dark night of the soul was 3 years. It was rough, but I'm grateful of who I became because of it. Yes, Kara. Yes, yes, yes. Um, so things like that shouldn't happen for anyone. Trying to breathe it out because it's so disgusting, but at the same time, it's so beautiful that someone would volunteer to change the world in that way, right? um so you'll see these people, and people are like, well, what about, I wouldn't choose it, George Floyd wouldn't have chosen, or maybe not the human vessel in that life experience, because they had to experience whatever they had to experience, and it was hard, and they wouldn't have chosen to experience that as the them that was in that vessel. But the higher self version of them knew exactly what this plane needed whenever they said, you know what, I'm going to go down there, I'm going to experience this, and it's going to be terrible, it's going to be awful, but it's going to touch the hearts of many. That is unconditional love, saying, you know what, that's a fucked up world, and that's a fucked up life, but I'm going to go into it, and that's a fucked up ending to that life, but I'm going to go into it, and I'm going to experience it, and I'm going to do it, because that's going to open eyes, and that's going to save countless lives from that day forward. That's going to bring justice to countless lives from that day forward. Unconditional love, if I've ever seen it. And that makes me cry. So, inner space and universal knowledge. Now is the time to go within. Just like we said over here, cloud meditation. Look up at the skies, meditate, get into that meditative state, get into trance, get into your channel, baby, because you will be able to discern what is of the truth, what is of the light, and what is not. So, and right behind that, go within. Again, they're telling us, go within, meditate, do what you got to do to balance yourself, to balance your own energy, because when you're balanced, you can perceive things in a more balanced way. You can perceive things as truth and not through the filter of your traumas. Sorry, someone just was hauling ass through here, and I heard the rocks, like the gravel, and it was louder than it normally is, and snapped me right out of the channel. Sorry. Okay. Sexual energy right here, getting into that sacral. This is creativity. This is also protection. Okay. Sacral, protective. Think womb, right? The womb protects the fetus as it gestates. So sexual energy, get into that creative energy. Your soul will find those you are meant to experience life with. We're all coming together. We're forming communities. We talked about that from the very beginning. forming communities with that hood love card that showed up. You heard it too, Anna? For me, gratefulness is always hindsight. If I experience challenges, I can't be grateful while in the middle of it. Yeah, and that's normal. That's a human thing. It's really hard to be grateful for the shit when you're right in the thick of it. A lot of children that have been saved from the child trafficking, etc., have been offered healing using med beds. Oh, I love that. That's amazing. See, technology is advancing. Things are getting better. Things are improving. You got to find the glimmers right now because, there's so many triggers happening right now that it's hard for people to see the glimmer. It's hard for them to see, something to be grateful for while they're going through the difficulty, just like Val said. So you will find those that you are meant to do life with and to connect with and form community and brotherhood, sisterhood, soul tribe, soul family, whatever you want to call it, sacred space. But you have to, yeah, okay. They said womb cleansing, talking about that sexual energy and that sacred space. A lot of us need to do womb cleansing. And even if you're a man, like a male, you identify, or you were born a male, and anyone, even you don't have to just be a male to not have a uterus, okay? Or not be able to, whatever. Anyway, you don't have to just be a female with a uterus to do the womb healing, because you've been male and female in many different past lives and experiences. And if you don't know, or if you don't know any about those, thunder. Now there's thunder. There wasn't a storm expected. That's been happening to me. Anyway, so your sacred space, your womb space, even if you don't have a womb, even if you're a male, born male, whatever, I don't care about your genitalia, your womb space, we all have one. Your soul is non-binary, okay? You've been all of these things, all of the things, and many different lifetimes. And if you don't know, or you haven't experienced it, you're interested, get a hold of me, book on my website, rebelspiritrising.com, and we can get you a past life regression and or full body quantum healing hypnosis session. So sacred space, create that sacred space. Do the womb cleansing. You can do it within just intent, Kara. Thank you for the question. You can do it just with the intent. You can do, energy healing on your own womb space. You can do, like, don't put like stuff up your hoo-ha, because it can throw off your pH, and like, women, you know what I'm talking about. You don't want to do anything that's going to compromise your womb health in any way. So like, and I know you know this, Kara, I'm just making this a point. Don't go shoving crystals up your hoo-ha either, especially if you haven't researched them, because some of them can be very dangerous for you. But that you don't have to put it up in there to have it do the work. Put it on top of, like, the outside, on top of your belly, on top of your womb there. You can use tools like that. You can do like sitz baths with herbs. Ladies, you know what a sitz bath is. For all of you who don't know what it is, it's just a bath with a couple of inches of water, so where you can squat down and put your junk in there, and like, it cleanses. Okay, so you can do that with herbs and spices. Make sure that you're researching, and make sure that you're using a blend of herbs that are safe for that area. Okay, don't compromise that, ladies. Because like, we've been told that like douching was a healthy thing to do. People do that, Anna. Yes, people do shove crystals up their hoo-ha. Yeah, don't put crystals in your vag. From the crystal lady directly here. And if you, for any of your crystal needs, dosharocks.com or Dosha Rocks on Facebook. I think she's the only one. But yeah, do not do that. It is not safe. It is not okay. Don't do it. You'll regret. I mean, I'm not telling you what you can and can't do. Obviously, that's your own free will, but you will be sorry. So heed this warning. Anyway, sacred space, the womb. Even if you don't have a womb, do the womb healing, okay? Because your energetic womb, how do you think you create? How do you think you manifest? Okay. You have a womb, even if it's ethereal, you have a womb. So do the womb cleansing, clear the space, make the space sacred, connect to your sacred spiritual etheric womb, whatever it is that you have, your physical womb if you have one too. Yeah, Anna, what the fuck, right? Yeah, so ancient wisdom, okay? Ancient wisdom should be don't shove random objects up your hoo-ha because they're not all good for it, okay? Also, sacred ancient wisdom is connecting, going within, meditating, using your discernment and your intuition, right? The ancestors, the ancients, long before everything was distorted and the patriarchal systems were put into place, you have this ancient knowledge from the time before, especially if you've been a repeat incarnator on this plane since the birth of Gaia herself, okay? All kinds of special, yes. You carry ancient wisdom with you. You are Source. Source knows everything. Source has experienced everything up to this point that can be experienced, and it's still inventing new experiences to have in other worlds and other things, other planes of existence and whatnot. We're not focusing all there because we could go for hours, if not days and weeks, endlessly. It wouldn't, yeah, endless, okay? It's infinity. You are Source, so you know everything. You have access to that. You got to open up to receive it, though. You have to connect to your source. You have to connect through your channel to your source, to the source, to get this ancient wisdom. So go within, do all of that. That way you'll have the discernment if they do try to do some kind of false alien invasion, or, you know, to be able to discern, are these the real star family, or are these posers? Because it really, you know, anything could happen at this point. But I digress. Your ancient wisdom is here. You're not going to find it on the Googler machine. You're not going to find it externally. You're not going to find it anywhere. And even if someone did give you that holy grail of information, if you're not at the frequency to receive it, you're not going to, it's going to be gibberish. You're not going to understand any of it. So you have to get your frequency connected to the source frequency to be able to fathom any of the information that you're craving. So don't go outsourcing it. Don't go outside of yourself to try to find that. And don't let somebody else tell you that you got it or you don't. Only you know that. I mean, some of us can see it on you, but only you truly know that for yourself, and only you can find it for yourself. Okay. I can't show it. I can show it to you, but you might not even see the door because you're not at a frequency. You're not open enough to be able to see it, to be able to conceive the idea, let alone conceptualize what's right in front of your very eyes. So go within, connect to your source. And even if you do get the information externally, it's going to click, it's going to make sense, it's going to resonate because you have that connection, because you're open to that and you have the connections to the source to be able to, oh, this checks out. My intuition, my logic says it checks out because I was at a frequency where I could fathom it, where I could conceptualize what was even going on. Okay. True love is never really lost. So if you are losing people, having experience, oh shit, my alarm's going to go off any minute now to go pick up my children. I've been like going crazy off into these wild side tangents, but that is what we're getting back to, is true love, source love, the only truth. And you better buckle up for the ride, baby, because it's been bumpy. It's going to continue to be bumpy, but it's going to improve. There's going to be so many cool, amazing discoveries. Like, you guys, I channeled a few years ago, a couple of years ago, if you remember, about the discoveries, the unearthings, and the things that are going to be coming out of our oceans, the things that are going to be revealed to us, archaeological finds and so forth. That has been happening off the fucking hook this year. Okay, just this year speaking, just the past 9 months, so 10 months now, sorry. We're in October, but yeah, amazing shit's gonna start happening, amazing discoveries, amazing encounters. We're gonna start really connecting on a physical, tangible level with our star families very soon. Okay, so get ready, own your shit, let go of the shit that don't resonate or don't belong in your frequency anymore. Anything that brings you down, anything that fogs up your perception, let it go. All right, I love you guys so much. My alarm's gonna like cut out anyway and make my screen black, so I will see you guys on Monday. I love you so much. Mwah.